even if you like luxury, just do not stay in a hotel. People outside of your country don't know what your country is about.
How would they enjoy their solo trip if they are not a party person?
Spend a little more, stay in the ones that are in the city center, because
Welcome to Been There, Seen That, a podcast where we bring to you tips, tricks, and secrets about travel to your favorite destinations by people who've actually been there and seen that. I'm Ayushi, and today I have with me.
Hi, I'm Srishti. I actually live in Bombay. I run a marketing agency with my husband, and I'm an image consultant. I'm starting to make my own content, and yeah, I travel. I travel a lot.
So you travel a lot. Do you also do a lot of solo traveling?
Absolutely. That's actually where my love for my travel started. I started traveling solo every opportunity I got.
But didn't you feel it was unsafe as a woman, especially from coming from India?
No, not at all. Somehow that thought only never came, and I was just very excited with the prospect of exploring a new destination. So that thought of, the place being unsafe never set in, especially because the places I went to were not typically an unsafe destination to travel to.
Okay, so if I have to ask you your earliest memory of traveling alone and the whole shebang that came with it, what would you say it was?
Okay, so my first ever experience with solo traveling came in when I was all of 22, and I was sent to London for work for 2 days, and I was like, I'm not missing this opportunity. I'm going to be extending my trip, taking my annual leave, and going to explore all of UK. So I ended up exploring England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland, all of it by myself in 10 days.
Oh, wait, in 10 days. That's insane. But okay, this is very unheard of because people don't usually squeeze in so much in 10 days. How did you go about planning this whole thing end to end?
So I'm very much a planner in my life, but when it comes to my travel, I kind of leave it to serendipity, if I may say so. I know where I'm going, but exactly what I'll be doing, exactly what dates I'll be going to that destination is something I do not plan to the T until the very last moment. So just to give you in a nutshell, after London, I ended up going to Wales in Cardiff, then I went to Manchester, then I went to Liverpool, took a ferry to Belfast, took a ferry to Edinburgh, came back to London and flew out from there. So all of that I did, covering all the 4 countries in Great Britain, and most of it was done as a last minute booking of my accommodation once I knew I was done with that place. But now if you see what I used to travel, I use Skyscanner a lot. I use Skyscanner and Google Flights actually to find the best deals. I use Google Hotels to get the best deals on hotels. I use a lot of my credit card apps, like I use Amex for a lot of points. I use KPR card, which gives me Forex zero forex fee experience when I have to pay. So yeah, bunch of things now, everything to do with bookings, but actually the beauty of Europe when you go there is using a physical map. I don't really till date like using maps to navigate myself. I take that old school physical map and I literally mark out all the places I've been to. At the end of my trip, see how much I've covered on foot.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So what did this map sort of look like when you did the whole UK shenanigan? Where all did you go, and how did you squeeze so much in 10 days?
I actually ended up doing a lot. So I went on a work trip for 2 days, like I said, to UK. From there, I'll tell you also how I commuted, so it makes sense for people to visualize.
Yes.
So I took a train from there to Cardiff, where I stayed with a friend.
Train from London.
Train from London, sorry, yes. So I took a train from London to Cardiff, where I ended up staying with my friend who was studying at that time, and I ended up saving money on accommodation. So those are the hacks that y'all can use to actually save money when you travel. Stay with people you know, and that way you don't really need to pay there. Then I ended up exploring all the best places to see in Cardiff, which wasn't a lot, honestly, because I ended up going to Wales later where I saw a few more things, but on that trip not that much. Then I took another train from, no, I took a bus, sorry. I took a bus from Cardiff to Manchester, and there I stayed with another friend who was studying, and I literally shopped. I'm not much of a shopper, but she took me to some crazy places like Primark.
Oh, yeah.
Primark really, opened my eyes to, oh my god, is this really true? Because I was getting deals, like I was getting a, overcoat for a fraction of the cost, the same one that I would get in Marks and Spencer, for example. So I just ended up shopping a lot in Manchester for some reason, because there wasn't much to do in that city, but I ended up getting the university vibe in that place.
Correct.
Then I took a bus from there to Liverpool. I really wanted to see Liverpool because I had read a lot about Beatles and just heard so much about that place. So ended up going to the Beatles story, did a duck marine tour where this sort of a tank takes you on the land and then takes you in the water, and you do a tour there. That same very night, I ended up booking a ferry because I wasn't sure how many days I'm staying for. I hadn't booked anything. So I ended up booking a ferry, and I went to Belfast from there, which is in Northern Ireland. In Belfast, I had no idea where I'm staying. On the ferry, it was a 5-star ferry, okay? They had a theatre in the ferry. They had a shopping mall inside that little ferry, and they had Wi-Fi, so I could do my bookings en route. Literally, when I was on the sea, I was doing my bookings of the hotel. I reached there, then my next day was planned already somehow. I ended up going to the Titanic Belfast, which was a crazy experience because that's where Titanic was built, right? And they have made this whole experience center. Then I went to Antrim's Coast from there, which is where the Giant's Causeway is. It's an 8th wonder of the world. Please look it up if you don't know. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And if any Game of Thrones fans are watching it, it is also one of the most prime shooting locations for Game of Thrones. So definitely you should check it out.
Yeah, it's a natural wonder. And then en route, we also stopped at the Bushmills distillery, from where I got a bottle of whiskey for my dad. Then I decided that, okay, I'm done with Belfast, and I ate some really interesting things there actually. I ate a thing called soda bread, and everywhere I went, actually I didn't mention this before, but everywhere I went, I'm sure I'm eating the local food there.
Okay.
Yeah, like I ate the typical fish and chips, which was an interesting experience because I went to this busiest bar in the middle of London, and I'm sitting there alone, having a jar of beer and fish and chips, and that was the only time I think I felt alone and a bit like lonely. But apart from that, I think I got used to it as and when, because you see in that pub, there are like, everyone is with people, and it's just that teething issue with solo traveling. It's the first time that you're going somewhere, you feel that, oh, it's a little awkward to be alone, what are people going to think? But that was literally the only time I felt that, I must say that.
So how do you, whenever you do feel this way, how do you sort of cope with it?
I just don't let it take over me.
Okay.
Yeah, I just keep telling myself that, you know what, it's cool, it's fine. I just let me focus on my food and then let me have a good time. So, I navigated the public transportation, figured that out, started eating myself, and actually started really enjoying it. And I think it's more of a plus than a negative for me, because I could really do things that I want to do at my pace, because that's one. Because you're a solo traveler, you would know.
Yeah.
An advantage of solo traveling is that, you can really take things on your own pace without any pressure of, doing a lot or not doing, chilling. You can do as much or as little as you want.
Which is fair, and I think that's what you did when it came, especially when it came to local food in UK, right? I think you just went all out. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
So I was coming to what I did after Belfast, okay?
Yeah.
So from Belfast, my next stop was Scotland, Edinburgh. I really wanted to see Edinburgh, especially because I'm a Harry Potter fan.
Okay,
and
yes.
There's a lot of Harry Potter, references and things to see about the building of Harry Potter from the J.K. Rowling perspective. So I had to go there, and I must tell you, I fell in love with that city. When I went there, I thought, oh my god, I can retire in this place. I hadn't seen a lot of the world, but I can still tell you, after seeing a lot more from that time, it is one of the most beautiful places. And but yeah, how I reached there was quite interesting. So again, I took a ferry because it's not connected to Northern Ireland by land. So I took a ferry from there. And again, the ferry was amazing. On my iPad, booked an accommodation there and then in Edinburgh. ended up not going to that place because with my backpack, my first solo trip, I obviously bought a backpack and everything. Worst decision. Please take Please take a suitcase, guys, because unless you're going to Venice, where there's a lot of up and down, suitcases don't work. But in any other place, I am not bothering with a backpack anymore.
Okay, so this is a controversial opinion.
It's a segue.
Because no, this is interesting. Like it's a controversial opinion because every solo traveler without fail that I've met is always like backpacks are so convenient, this, that. But you're saying that suitcases are more relevant and convenient.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
why is that?
Think of it, okay, I'm a sporty person, I'm adventurous, I'm not afraid to carry a backpack, but my back gave in by the end of the trip because I literally had to carry backpacks on all the local commutes, on the buses, on the trains, and because it was my only luggage, it was quite heavy by the end of it, right? And I realized that a suitcase would have been so convenient, and that's the mistake I did in my next trip, which was in Italy. I took a suitcase in Venice, and I was praying and hoping that I wish I took a backpack here. So it really depends on where you're going. If it's a hilly terrain, if it's a lot of walking, please take a suitcase and be kind to yourself, guys. Like it's not glamorous at all to carry backpacks.
Yeah, it doesn't make you cool or it doesn't make you
a part of the backpack community. It's fine. You can carry a suitcase and be convenient about it.
Yeah, I always carry like my little cabin baggage wala suitcase, and it's never been a problem.
Just one tip I will give you, always carry, which I did back then also, a foldable bag for your cabin. I always, even if I'm going on a 2-day trip somewhere, I don't leave without a foldable bag because you don't know how much you'll end up shopping there for souvenirs and clothes and all of that, and your bag may not suffice. So I ended up buying suitcases when I'm traveling because I've bought stuff there.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So that's why I've always carried a foldable bag with me.
Interesting. Got it. That's a good tip.
So coming back
to the
Edinburgh.
And going all out there. Yes, please.
Yeah. So in Edinburgh, with my backpack, when I was trying to reach my accommodation on my little BlackBerry phone, where the map is tiny and you don't really, you're not able to see as well as you are, able to now. I saw that my hostel is very far, and I saw another hostel on the way. So I was like, let that be. I'm going to check into this and just make it easier for myself. I went into that hostel. There was space, luckily, and I cancelled the other hostel, checked into this new place, which was the best decision, I must tell you, because I ended up discovering this thing which I've recommended to everyone in the last 13 years. It's called Sandyman's Free Walking Tours.
Okay, not sponsored by Sandyman, by the way. So
it's not sponsored, but I'm literally, promoting it to anyone and everyone that I can, because it has changed the way I travel. It has literally changed the way I travel because the first thing I do whenever I land in any European destination is book a Sandyman's walking tour. So what happened in Edinburgh?
Sorry, just one thing. So where can you book that?
So when I was in the hostel, they had a pamphlet. Right? If you've been to hostels, you'll see there's this notice board, right? Where they'll put a bunch of things, what's happening in the city and all free walking tours. Back then I was 22 and I didn't have much money. I was looking at everything free, okay? What all I can do for free. I ended up taking this, didn't have much hopes. I told at the reception itself that I want to do this, what's the procedure. They told me they meet at a particular time, say 10 a.m. at this particular point, and the person will be carrying a red umbrella. So you have to go there, meet that person, you'll see a bunch of people, and it's literally a free walking tour. At the end, whatever is your budget and whatever you think the tour is worth, you pay that. Sometimes I have paid as little as 2-3 euros when I didn't have any cash on me, and sometimes when I've been very happy, I've paid 20 euros also. Yeah. When I felt very rich.
So it's like gratuity.
Yes, it's gratuity. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. But that is the reason Edinburgh has become my favorite city, because the stories that person told us. I remember it was an Australian tour guide, and the tour guides are damn knowledgeable. So that the way they told the stories about that place, especially all the Harry Potter references, I must tell you, that made me fall in love with the city. And I don't want to tell everything that they told. You must go and see it for yourself.
Okay.
But there was a lot of executions on the streets in Edinburgh, a lot of sewage throwing out of the window in a bucket.
Wow. Okay.
And like there was this story about graveyard where J.K. Rowling picked up names for Harry Potter, like McGonagall, like Voldemort. So all of those interesting references were from there. But the most interesting thing, I ate haggis.
Okay. Now, what is haggis?
So haggis is this Scottish specialty. So first morning before my walking tour, I go to this recommended bar to eat my breakfast, okay? And that breakfast was, I took an all Scottish breakfast, which had one thing called haggis. Now imagine a BlackBerry with slow internet. I'm trying to Google what is haggis. It didn't come as fast as the food came. The food came first. I ate it. By that time it loaded, okay? I ate and then it loaded and I saw what it is. It's literally organs of either sheep or cow, all blended together with spices, stuffed inside the stomach and baked. And the outcome of it, that keema kind of a thing, is what is haggis.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's
I still
very
ate
interesting.
it. After getting to know this, I still ate it. I would definitely recommend it to all non-vegetarians to try it out, because I genuinely feel if you're traveling and you're a non-vegetarian, your trip is incomplete without trying everything that that place has to offer.
If I had to ask you top 3 things that
Yeah.
Anybody who's traveling to UK must definitely try, what would those 3 things be?
Okay, so at the top of my head, please try haggis, So I tried it twice in my trip to Edinburgh. One was at that breakfast place, and then my guide recommended this other place where a chicken breast was stuffed with haggis. It was delicious. So I would definitely recommend you eat it at a recommended place so that it's tastier. Eat oysters in a great Scottish bar, okay, because they are really amazing. Then the third thing, which may be a bit controversial, is a blood sausage.
Okay.
Now, blood sausage is made with the blood of pigs, and it's like, and they make it crispy, so it's almost like cookies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so yeah, try it out. It's interesting.
Okay, interesting. So, you mentioned that like eat haggis at recommended places.
Yeah.
And also throughout this conversation, we've spoken about recommendations multiple times.
Yeah.
Where, especially as people who are solo traveling and who just have themselves,
Yeah.
what do you think, like what are some sources that they can go to for asking these recommendations?
Great question. So, you know what I do? What I discovered early on, because I used to work in tourism and I know how it works, I would never ever make my own day plan myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I would do is, because I want to take advantage of the educated, knowledgeable people that are already there in the city doing this for a living, right?
Yes, exactly.
I don't know as much as them. So what I would do is, as soon as I land in a place, if it's a morning, first thing I would go after landing at the train station or the airport is the Tourist Information Center, the TIC. So you reach the information center, you tell them it's like today's ChatGPT, okay? Now you have ChatGPT, guys. Back then we had nothing. So you tell them that, hey, I'm here for 3 days. My interests are exploring bit of history, trying out good places to eat, and doing everything for free. For example, tell them your 3 prompts, and then they will give you a map. They will literally mark out places for you that, hey, for day 1 do this, for day 2 do this, for day 3 do this. Do not do this, do not do that. So they will literally plan my day for me. All I have to do is follow it.
Oh, wow.
And along the way, talk to people. Because when you're traveling solo, it's very overwhelming, right? Because you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. You want to ensure that you are literally doing the best that you can in terms of seeing everything. So it can get a bit too much. So I literally leave it to the experts, which is the Tourist Information Center. They tell me what to do. Then I talk to people. I make friends when I stay in the hostel, right? So with them, I end up going and exploring places and just having a great time.
If there's a solo traveler and they don't want to stay alone throughout the entire duration of the trip, they want to like meet people,
Yeah.
What would you recommend? What would your advice be for them?
Great question again. Number 1 tip, do not stay in a hotel.
Okay.
Even if you like luxury, just do not stay in a hotel. Book a room in a hostel. Otherwise, if you're good with, roughing it out a bit, if you're young, under 30, I'm 35, guys, so I can still stay in a dormitory. But if you're under 30, if you're comfortable, stay in a dormitory. Stay in a all-female dorm if you're a girl. Stay in a mixed dorm if you're a girl. If you're a boy, all-male, mixed dorm, whatever floats your boat. But just have avenues to talk to people, because you will realize that there are so many other solo travelers too. That way, you are not alone. And you know, one very interesting thing I found out, or it was like an epiphany when I was in Edinburgh actually. I checked into my dorm and I met this girl, okay? She was from Canada. And I'm here, you know, 22-year-old. I'm like, oh my God, like what am I, I'm doing, I'm living my best life. And you know, I've done such a great thing. Nobody in my peers, you know, have done this so far. So I was feeling very proud of myself to be able to do this by myself. Then I meet this girl, okay, 18-year-old Canadian. And she was out there. I still remember this image like it was yesterday, okay. She had a sling bag which she was sewing herself. Yeah, so she was sewing it because it tore. So I asked her, I was talking to her, I'm like, hey, you know, what's up? Like, what are you doing and all? So I got to know her story. She was solo traveling for 1 year with the money she earned herself from the jobs she did in McDonald's. For this 10-day trip, I had taken money from my dad. And that girl, being much younger to me, had earned enough, saved enough, and going on a world tour for 1 whole year. And then amazing me by doing things like, oh, bag fat gaya, so she's sewing it herself.
Yeah.
You know, we Indians don't do that. We'll just chuck it and buy a new one. You
So
know,
solo traveling, yeah, so solo travel is also such a great way for you to just expand your worldview and like get inspired by a whole different set of people.
Absolutely. And you know, on the contrary, one of my trips, and I think it's an interesting one. So this was in Florence, okay, a little different destination. But this one time, I was at this place called Piazza Michelangelo in Florence, and I was taking pictures and I was asking people to take my pictures because I was alone. This couple, sweet looking couple, comes up to me and they ask me where you're from. This is a very common question when you're traveling solo. Where you're from? What do you do? So I told them I'm from India, and he was quite visibly shocked. So turns out he's a Canadian too, and he's asking me that, oh, what do you do in India? I say I have a job. Do you have jobs in India? He asked me. I'm like, yes, very much. So he's like, are you here for work or for pleasure? I'm like, for pleasure. I'm traveling by myself. He's like, oh wow, you make enough money that you can travel by yourself. I'm like, yes, very much. So it just made me realize that people outside of your country don't know what your country is about. Don't know. And that, I think solo traveling is a great way to educate people too about what all great things are happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Like, I have met so many people where they're also so surprised that, oh, all of this is even there in India.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, so we are doing our bit to let people know.
It's patriotic in a way, honestly. Tell me, not every person, especially women, would, you know, be comfortable partying in a strange destination. What is there how would they enjoy their solo trip if they are not a party person?
Okay, so interesting question, because firstly, I've met a lot of men and women who love to party. I personally am more of a person who wants to explore the cultural and historic side more. Somehow that fascinates me more than partying. So I end up doing a lot more walking tours, a lot more historical things, a lot more sightseeing, but in the offbeat way. Not just the typical sightseeing of touristic destinations, just offbeat cultural sightseeing.
How do you get to know about these places?
I ask my hostel, I ask people that I meet who are living in my hostel, and they always come up with recommendations. Trust me, you don't need to do research also before you go.
Okay.
Like I think some people have a checklist, right? I have to eat here, or go here, go here, go here. I don't have any of that. It can be a controversial opinion because sometimes it takes a longer time to figure out what you want to do, but it just keeps it very natural. You know, I'm just going with the flow every time. So the point is, doing all of that just tires me out so much that I end up crashing and I don't have energy to party. I would love to party, but I think I'm more of a cultural person.
Okay, understood. So any such offbeat things, like maybe give me like top 2 offbeat things that you did in UK, which you didn't know about before, but you just got to know by talking to people.
So the Giant's Causeway was one of the things where, you know, I don't think a lot of people have gone to Belfast. You know, for example, they would go to Dublin in Ireland. But going to Belfast and staying in a very cute little hostel, then, you know, booking a bus and doing a trip up north to Antrim's coast and seeing this Giant's Causeway in rainy season, stopping at a whiskey distillery on the way, these things were so interesting. And again, very offbeat, right? One touristy thing I did there was Titanic Belfast, but I loved the experience of it. Right, so that was one, and then Sandyman's is my number one recommendation, bro. Like that recommendation I will give to everyone. That's offbeat and it's very cultural, and honestly you can use it to your benefit because the Sandyman tour guides are very, very knowledgeable about the cultural aspects of the city. So in that one trip, after the trip also you can ask as per your interest, where is it that you want to go.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
So to wrap up this really interesting conversation, I just have one last question. UK is really expensive for the common Indian.
Yeah.
So how, if say anybody wants to solo travel there, how can they cut costs?
So, in my experience, I have honestly by default cut cost by staying in hostels.
Fair enough.
Because accommodation can be one of the most expensive part of your trips, right? The other one is smartly extending your work trips. So, when I go there on a work trip, my visa is taken care of, my flight is taken care of. All I need to do is my internal travel, my food and accommodation. And that's really the fraction of your budget, right? So, number one, maximize on the work trips. Wherever you go, just extend it. Like, I went to Bangalore once and I had a weekend after that. I didn't go back home. I ended up taking a bus to Pondicherry and spending 2 days there, going to Auroville. So like just making the max usage of your travels will save you a lot of money and give you the experiences that you would never ever have. And other is staying in hostels. Mind you, spend a little more, stay in the ones that are in the city center, because you can save money by commuting on your foot everywhere very easily, because you will find the cheapest places, but they'll be outside of the city at a far off distance, and then it'll just be a bummer, because you're not in the middle of the action and you're alone. You want to be in the hustle and the bustle of the city, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, but one recommendation, because I'm such a foodie, don't skimp out on eating great food, guys. Like, just eat great food. Don't eat shawarmas. You get that in India. Eat at the best places. You should try a Michelin star. You should try the best known places and have that experience, because you don't know if you're going back there again.
So essentially, like, budget smartly and spend on things that will actually add value to your life and that'll become a core memory.
Yeah. And one more thing, sorry, I'm extending. Don't shop for clothes, guys. Do not shop for clothes unless it's a weather requirement, unless it's very cold, you don't have something, please buy. But pack smartly, pack light, and only come back with souvenirs. I buy, my entire house is a shop because I buy souvenirs when I travel, and that's the best memory. Like clothes in India, you get everything now.
Exactly.
You do not need to, use your baggage capacity to buy clothes and shoes from outside India anymore.
Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. So, solo travel is not as intimidating as people make it out to be.
It's not.
You just have to be really smart and really proactive about it. Yeah, open-minded about it, and just like let yourself be and go easy on yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself. It's fine if you miss out on seeing a few things as long as you have great core memories like Srishti did.
And also it gives you a reason to come back, right? If you've missed something. I've always missed something whenever I've gone, and I'm like, okay, this gives me a reason to come back.
Thank you so much, Srishti, for being here. It was a really fun conversation, and I wish you all the best for your next trip.
Thank you, Ayushi. It was lovely. It was great that you could come over and we can have this conversation.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe so that you get notified of whenever we upload our next shot.